The following podcast is a production of the Podpire Network. Find and listen to our podcasts at thepodpirenetwork.com or wherever you enjoy your podcast. The Podpire Network, a family of inspired podcasts.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Enabling Motion, the podcast where we bring you the inspiring technology that keeps people moving. I'm Sibel Mufti, and today I'm sharing a novel pneumatic liner for prosthetic devices.
Hello everybody, Marc here. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm sharing a couple pieces of tech that are restoring movement to those with traumatic spinal cord injuries.
And I'm Owen, and I'm going to be talking about a company that's looking to monitor both implant loosening as well as spine instability.
Thanks for that, Owen. We're going to take a quick ad break, and we'll be right back. Dear listeners, take a second to imagine that you're an amputee and have to wear a socket on your residual leg throughout the day. Now imagine that throughout the day you have different levels of swelling, which changes the size and the shape of your leg slightly. This is going to cause the pressure of your leg against the socket to increase, becoming uncomfortable and possibly causing some damage to the skin and other soft tissues, even ulceration. The current solution for this is to have different silicone and fabric liners inside the socket of varying thicknesses that the user can change according to how swollen their leg is throughout the day. It's quite dependent on their ability to feel the pressure and make decisions according to the sensation coming through. Wait, what if you have impaired sensation? That's actually pretty common. It often happens with diabetic neuropathy, which is damage to the nerves due to diabetes, which is quite significant given the fact that diabetes is the leading cause of limb amputations in North America and worldwide. So now what do we do? Well, a team out of the University of Waterloo in Canada has come up with a really clever system using concepts out of the world of soft robotics. They've created a liner with cavities that are pumped by pneumatic actuators. It's a soft liner inside of the socket that's able to change shape and the amount of pressure it's applying by adjusting the amount of air inside of different parts of it. Imagine multiple air pockets that are really precisely controlled, or I was imagining a really advanced kid's arm floaty. So the system's able to dynamically adjust the amount of air in each section to maintain the correct pressure. Effectively, it's adapting to the changing shape of the residual limb throughout the day without relying on the user's sense of touch or requiring their constant access and time and effort to change liners throughout the day. And given that swelling of the lower limbs is very unpredictable, it's very, very helpful. So where are we on the R&D spectrum right now? Well, it's still in a lab and it's not a self-contained unit yet. I wasn't really seeing much information about how much power the system took, but it does clearly mention that it's using miniaturized components and that they've found ways to use fewer actuators. So I think it's fair to say it's a fairly small unit, and I'm making a somewhat educated guess that it's fairly low power, which makes me think this is a relatively practical technology that could easily move into regular use, hopefully soon. And I also found similar projects when doing some searching online. I'm really hoping we start to see something like this become more common within the next few years.
Hey Sibel, we talk a lot about the importance of socket fit. This could be a huge thing for patients. Any idea about the pressure-sensitive regions we've been taught to offload?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We're talking about regions like the fibular head, for example, on the lower leg, which cannot withstand a lot of pressure. And that's in fact one of the team's future goals, for the system to dynamically redistribute pressure away from those areas to areas that are better able to carry those forces. Thanks for that question, Marc.
For sure. So what if what we thought was impossible has become possible? Someone who thought they would never have use of their legs had that use returned. A true miracle produced by science. It's what I want to talk about today. Very exciting technology coming from the company Onward Medical, formerly GTX Medical. Onward is a Swiss company working to develop a way to restore lost function in those with spinal cord injuries. The first device is called the ARC-IM. This device relies on epidural electric stimulation to provide specific stimulation to the spinal cord below a damaged region. Implanted into the epidural space in the lumbar spine, the ARC-IM delivers strategically timed impulses to the spinal cord to deliver motor commands to specific motor nerve pathways. These sequences of stimulation emulate the amplitude and frequency parameters of regular motor commands that would come from the brain, and this device can also potentially help to retrain one's brain and body to use remaining intact nerve pathways instead of the familiar pathways that are damaged. Researchers at Onward had to tackle many difficult challenges to make this technology effective. They worked on the actual surgical techniques to implant the electrode paddle. They used specific software to help determine the ideal placement of the electrodes on the implanted paddle, and they had to fine-tune the timing of the electrical impulses to be able to provide the proper sequence of muscular innervation in order to not only make a single muscle contract, but to generate a contraction pattern in multiple muscles to create the movements that allowed for standing and walking. The device can also be operated wirelessly from a smartwatch or other device. Currently, the ARC-IM has been tested on 3 paraplegic patients with full lower limb motor and sensory loss, but more trials will hopefully be taking place in the near future. All 3 of the subjects were able to stand and walk with only the assistance of a walker.
Wait, so Marc, you're saying that we're actually at a point in human history where people who were truly paralyzed and unable to walk are able to walk again?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying, and
that's crazy. That's a paradigm shift in human history
entirely. No, it's mind blowing. It truly is.
Wow.
A miracle, and I don't like throwing that word around because I'm a man of science, but it is truly, truly amazing what's been accomplished here, providing hope and prospect that we have not seen yet. I know. It does need a moment to just digest how incredible that is, and I would hope that everybody can go on to Onward's website and take a look at the videos and follow the stories of these patients and see this in practice, because it's truly, truly amazing and inspiring. So the second device is the ARC-EX. So this is a non-invasive form of spinal stimulation. This device uses surface electrodes placed over the cervical spine and specific waveforms to provide targeted stimulation to the spinal cord as a means to restore function of a user's arms and hands. In what they're calling the Uplift trial, researchers will be testing the ARC-EX on 65 patients with loss of upper limb function due to spinal cord injury and determining its effectiveness at restoring function and strength to the upper limb. I think the focus of restorative care for people with spinal cord injuries is such an important next step, because current care is focused more on maintenance and adapting to the new circumstance of your life. I think that technologies like the ARC are providing a very exciting prospect for the rehabilitation of spinal cord injuries, and I'm so excited to watch how it progresses, because the missing link in the care of this injury and this condition, and it, I think, is so exciting. And we'll be back after these breaks that are going to help me pay for a extra thick helmet, because I do not trust bungee jumping with these guys.
Hi, welcome back, and thanks for taking the time to listen to those ads. Thanks to your listens and a sale at Home Depot, I've been able to get us one cinder block and a ball of twine, which should really make this jumping trip fun. Now, here at Enabling Motion, we really like to talk about things that move. But sometimes there are some things where you don't really want them to move, or you don't want them to move in a certain way. So after someone gets a full knee or a hip replacement, they often have to go in to get follow-up appointments and x-rays. One of the reasons for this is because implants can actually often shift over time. Now, a lot of the time, this isn't a big deal. It's not going to have a large impact, but other times it actually can. And it can also be difficult to accurately measure just how much an implant has moved with conventional x-rays. This is where a company based out of Mabou, Nova Scotia, called Halifax Biomedical Inc., and their complete stereo orthopedic radiography, or SOR for short, comes in. They're looking to provide solutions to two of the largest problems in orthopedics: instability of the spine and loosening of implants. So, how does it work? During the surgery, the surgeon would use a bead inserter to place tiny beads into the bone while replacing the either the hip or the knee replacement. And Halifax Biomedical recommends that there should be 5 or 6 of these beads placed in optimized locations that are visible for multiple views. Afterwards, during the patient's regular follow-up imaging, a low-dose SOR images are taken from using 2 different angles for a 3-dimensional assessment of the patient's bone and the implants. These images are then analyzed by an expert analysts, and very precise measurements are sent back to the surgeon in the form of a report, allowing them to be able to see how the implants have moved in a 3D space. And then these assessments can be done on hip, knee, ankle, spine, and many other joints. All that's really needed is the forethought to have these beads implanted into the bone. So yeah, I guess it's now time for what our favorites of the week were, of the episode. Personally, I think what really got me excited was Marc's topic. I really thought that was very. I mean, I was already thinking about spines this week when I was doing mine. So finding out that Marc was also talking about spines, that might be why. But yeah, my vote for this week is going to be Marc's.
Yeah, thanks, Owen. Fair enough. Honestly, I'm exactly on the same page. Like, Marc, your topic is what fascinates me about it is that it's such a fundamental change to the way we view things. For most of human history, if someone gets a major spine injury and ends up paralyzed, that is a lifelong condition. And not to say that is necessarily a change for everyone. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, there's so much work to do, I'm sure. But the fact that we have gotten to a point where that is actually beginning to change is insane. That is science fiction. I almost tear up imagining someone who's has had such a terrible thing happen to a loved one, but there's a chance that now a horrible accident may not result in permanent paralysis. It's just fascinating.
Absolutely, it's a complete game changer. And in researching this and some past topics, just these are the ones that I really, really enjoy seeing, and the innovative solutions to solving some of these issues and problems that we thought were never going to be able to be fixed. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. So what's your favorite other than yours?
Can I choose my own?
We've been over this like 100 times.
I know. I'm going to say that, Sibel, your topic was my favorite. I love... Because
you're making so many sockets.
I love the soft robotics. I think it's a very, very cool concept. The little amount that I know about them, they sound very cool to me. And having something that's able to adjust in real time and adapt to the changing volume of the residuum and be able to make those changes without having to take something on and off and be able to just provide that added bit of comfort throughout the day, I think it seems subtle, but I think makes a huge difference in the actual experience of using these devices. And so I really do like that a lot.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And I'm really hoping we see that expand and for it to come into regular use, because I definitely can understand from just our school, what they've taught us, that kind of control on pressure would make such a big difference to someone's quality of life and comfort. So absolutely. Well, thank you guys for your topics today. Great. And thank everyone for listening. Message on us on Instagram at Enabling Motion Pod. Let us know what your favorites were. Let us know if there's any topics you might want us to cover, or any thoughts, other thoughts you have. Listen to us everywhere that podcasts are found. And thank you to the Podpire Network for hosting and supporting us. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you, everyone. Take care.